Hey everyone, Kyle here from Love Reptiles. Just wanted to come back with another update video on this year's clutches and some of the holdbacks that we have this year. I apologize I haven't done a video in a while. Me and my wife had a baby about 3 weeks ago, and leading up to that and during that time I thought I'd still be able to make videos on Wednesdays and found it to be a bit of a challenge. So here we are, we're back. We're going to go over a few clutches here, some that are still about to shed, some that are just crawling out of the egg, and some that have had a few meals, just some of the ones I wanted to highlight from our recent clutches. So we'll start up here with a clutch. This clutch was a yellow belly het pied female bred to a fire yellow belly het pied male. So let me get these out of here. These haven't shed yet, so they're a little cloudy, but I think that's worth showing them off still a little bit here. Let's see. So, right there we have, it looks like a normal het pied. Here we have a yellow belly het pied. Maybe a fire yellow belly, to be honest. And this is definitely a fire yellow belly het pied. You can really see the sides in that one from the yellow belly influence. And then back here, we got two pieds out of the clutch, which is not bad for breeding het to het. This is a yellow belly pied, really cool animal. It'll look even better once it sheds. I'll do an update video on this one later. And then in deep shed, we have a fire pied right here. Unfortunately, it's a high white, so you don't get to see all the colors. You don't really get to see them since it's so cloudy anyway in shed, but we'll do an update video on these later, but I just wanted to show you that clutch. Put those away. This next clutch was actually the same pairing, different female, different yellow belly het pied female, but the same fire yellow belly het pied male. So let's go through these. We got a little mess here. Now this was a bigger clutch. I think there were, what, 7 eggs. All were healthy. So right here we have our two 100% het pieds, and one that wants to get away. Nothing crazy there. We had a good mix of babies here, so we got a little bit of everything with this clutch, so it's kind of a fun one. So this here is another yellow belly het pied. Get her sprawled out. We have a fire het pied, so you can really see how the fire lightens up the colors. Here is your fire yellow belly het pied, so that's the combination of those two genes, but the pied did not hit. This is what I believe to be a low expression fire pied. I won't know for sure until it hatches, or I'm sorry, until it hatches. I won't know for sure until it has a few meals and gets some size on it, but it's in between right now. I mean, there's some spots on there that are brighter than normal pieds, but definitely a cool looking pied. And then right here we have an ivory, and that is 66% possible het. All of these are actually 66% possible hets. When you breed het to het and you don't hit on the pied, you don't hit on the recessive gene, the rest of them are 66% chance. And I'll do a genetics video on that later, but cool clutch there. I wanted to highlight this clutch here. This is Pastel Enchi het pied female to a Pastel Enchi pied male. So shooting for the super Pastel, super Enchi pied. Had pretty good odds, didn't hit on that one. But these have all had a few meals, and just wanted to show you the variety of babies that we got here. Now we did hatch some Enchi het pieds and some Pastel Enchi het pieds. They're the least spectacular, so we're just going to go with the really cool ones here. So here we have a Pastel Enchi pied. So Enchi combined with pied actually reduces white in most cases to the point where there's almost none. So it doesn't look like it could be a pied, but you look at the belly and you can see the lines aren't straight, and there's just different ways of of telling if it's an inchy pied or not, but this one definitely is pastel inchy. We've got a couple hets in here to kind of show some contrast. This one here is a super pastel inchy het pied. This one here is a super inchy pastel het pied. We have a super inchy pied. And probably my favorite, a super pastel inchy pied. So very cool clutch. Good variety, hit a lot of cool things. Couple males, couple females. I'm just really excited about this one. There's one that I missed from the pastel inchy het pied to the pastel inchy pied clutch. Probably the best one of all. I can't believe I didn't put him in the video, so I'm going to add him in here. This is a pastel super inchy pied. Very cool looking snake. Going to be a really powerful breeder. Just in case any of you guys are wondering, all of these are on our website, which I will link into the description. So, sorry this wasn't with the rest of them, but here it is anyway. We had a couple banana pied clutches this season. Wanted to highlight them. So I showed you this snake when it was in shed in one of my previous videos. Wanted to do an update on that one. So out of shed, looking good, getting some color on it. Banana pieds are really cool. And we had another recent one hatch that was really nice, and you can kind of see how they change colors as they age. But that one there, also very pretty. Banana pieds are amazing. Alright, I also wanted to show everyone how I set up my egg boxes when I'm hatching snakes and before they've shed. So when they're on the incubation substrate, I leave them in there until about 3 days before they pip. I will take them off and I'll put them on 2 light diffuser grates with some wet paper towel underneath, and just put the eggs on top of that so the eggs don't soak up a lot of water and moisture, because they'll absorb that water and we don't want that before they come out. So we do cut them. We do a little slit in the eggs before the babies come out, just at about day 57, just in case if they haven't pipped already. Usually they've pipped by then. But just so we can see what we've got, really no other reason, and they all come out just fine every time. Once they all come out like this, then you have a pile of babies with some eggs. So what I do is I set up a second egg box. I put some wet paper towel on the bottom, and all I do is I move them into it. And I usually will give them a little rinse, so I'll go do that later after the video is over. But let's see what we got here. So this was another yellow belly het pied to the fire yellow belly pied male again. Sorry, fire yellow belly het pied male. So we thought he might have been a visual pied. He was kind of interesting, but he definitely turned out to be a het with all of the hets that he produced. So looks like we have a yellow belly possible het pied, and it looks like she is based on her belly, but you know, you can never tell till you breed. We've got, and I haven't seen this clutch yet, so this is exciting. We've got another yellow belly het pied, possible het, excuse me, but it looks like it probably is. And then 3 pieds, all right. Some high white ones. Let's see here. That one doesn't want to come out right now. This here looks like it could be, it's definitely yellow belly based on the pattern right there. I would say that's a fire yellow belly. So that's what we've been trying to hit. 3 clutches I've showed you with the same pairing and didn't hit one of them, so I'm glad we finally got one, and it looks like we got 2. Let's see if we can get him out. He's a little shy. Or she, I haven't sexed him yet, I'm not sure. So that is also, for sure, a fire yellow belly. The head on that one is very cool. Not a lot of pattern on these, unfortunately, but they're going to be excellent future breeders. And then this last one here looks like a regular yellow belly pied or pumpkin pied. So you can see they still have a little bit of goo on them. Maybe you can see that, maybe you can't, but we'll rinse them off and we'll get them in their egg box. And so then I'll get them all in here like this. put them back in the incubator, and usually about a week later they'll all shed their skin and be ready to set up solo in their new tubs, and I can start feeding them at that point. So I'll clean this out, and there we go. We finally got our fire yellow belly pieds. Thanks for watching, guys.